So, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. If you haven't formed an opinion about this already, well then, you're not human. So what's the point in me doing a review? Well, fuck you all, I'm still gonna do one anyway because it's been 8 months and Jesus Christ, I'm bored. So, let me see where to start. Well, let's go with the usual formula, shall we? The graphics, as you can see right now, are pretty damn good. It may come as a surprise to some people, although depending on how well you've been looking at the game, maybe not much. But it does run off the same engine as Call of Duty 4. Really, they haven't changed much, except that there's a lot more polish and a lot more detail in this engine. So, of course, instead of in Call of Duty 4, let's say you run up to a few barrels or boxes or something, the textures, when you got up were quite low res. In this time, there really isn't any of that. The only place where the graphics can fall down a little bit is depending on your settings, shadows can be a bit pixelated. But other than that, the game works perfectly fine in terms of graphics. As I said, it looks stunning, and they've really done a great job of adding more detail and having the engine maintain performance. I was able to run this game maximum settings 1680 by 1050 with 4 times anti-aliasing, as that appears to be the maximum you can get, or at least it would allow me at the time, at a constant 60 frames per second, and recording was pretty much a constant 30 apart from dips here and there due to starting and ending of recording. Other than that, though, there really isn't much to be said about graphics other than it looks really, really pretty. The sound is amazing. Guns sound a lot more convincing this time. However, there are a few exceptions to that rule. Like the UMP sounds a bit strange, almost like it's silenced, despite obviously not being by default. But as I said, the game sounds brilliant. Guns have a great snap to them. Explosions are harsh. Bullet ricochets and passers-by are brilliant. Really makes you feel like you're there getting shot at. Now, the story of Modern Warfare 2. This has been somewhat a little bit of controversy. I'll just tell you right now, it's packed full of action and it never slows down from start to finish. It's a roller coaster ride all the way. And if you like the works of, authors like Tom Clancy or Matthew Riley, it's going to be perfect for you. You're absolutely going to love the story. However, some people do say it is not that good. Of course, that's their own opinion, but in my opinion, it's a brilliant story. There are a few things that could have been done a little bit better, and sometimes where it could have been expanded, but that's really up to you when it comes down to it. Now, as I said, it was fast-paced, action-packed, and you never slow down, and you never feel like it is slowing down. It's a bone-jarring start to an astounding finish all the way, and there are so many action-packed moments like what you're seeing right now, just stunning, pre-done moments that work so well in the context of the game. It is absolutely amazing to watch. This particular scene right now is stunning.
Sarge, did HQ just tell us to go out ourselves? Pretty much, boss.
Now, the gameplay in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is a lot more frantic and fast-paced than Call of Duty 4 was. This is probably because the story is a lot more frantic and fast-paced than Call of Duty 4 was. But that doesn't mean that's not a bad thing. It really gets you in the feel of what you're doing is extremely vital and has to be done right now, and you are fighting for your life constantly. There are a few sections in the game where you're stealthing about a little bit, but as in traditional action movie or gameplay form, things go to hell pretty damn quick. So, as I said, it's very fast and very fun. The general gameplay itself is, perfect shooter mechanics. It works so well, and it works a lot better this time because the AI is much more refined. Now, in the last Call of Duty game, or in all the previous Call of Duty games, enemies would continuously spawn until you managed to push on, at which point they would stop spawning from those locations and begin spawning from the next set of locations. In this one, it uses a similar system where enemies will spawn to a limited amount within a particular area, but it's more scripted in their spawning patterns in their locations. However, they do have some leeway as to the difficulty level and where you roam around the level. But it's a lot better in that regard because you can, if you really need to, you can hunker down for a little while and your AI buddies will take care of, a few enemies for you, not that many. You can't really rely on them. Now, there's a hell of a lot more content in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 than there was in Call of Duty 4. More guns, more items, more kit gear, more upgrades, more add-ons, more everything. The only thing that they haven't changed or added to is the game time, which is sort of disappointing. I got through the game in about 4.5, 5 hours, and difficulty level will change that. But I found it much more difficult than the previous Call of Duty games, probably because I haven't played this sort of shooter in a long ass time, but I died a lot. When I mean a lot, I mean a lot. On regular, I died at least 5 times every level. That's really sad. I played through on hardcore for this view, and you're going to see all of the times I died, well not all, but a few right about now. So this is the part of the review where I'd usually talk about, you know, glitches and bugs and crashes and things that have happened in the game. I'm extremely happy to say that it's pretty much none. There was one bug where I got stuck in the geometry once, because obviously, you know, I shouldn't have jumped atop that pile of miniguns that were in the corner, so, you know, that was my bad. There's the only major issue I can see is that Steam, or perhaps the game, I don't know, seems to you know, stall or pause or, you know, just completely halt the game for seconds on end during the beginning. During when you start up the game. It seems to do this for approximately 2 to 5 minutes every time. However, if you leave it after that and then start playing, it works perfectly fine. Now, the main thing people want to know about with Modern Warfare 2 is its multiplayer. Is it good and does it work? The answer to both these questions is yes, definitely. It's good because they've taken Call of Duty 4's multiplayer and added crap loads to it. There's more maps, there's more guns, there's more perks, there's more add-ons, there's more levels, there's more everything. The downside to the multiplayer is, of course, everyone knows, it runs off a matchmaking system instead of a server system. So there's no more dedicated servers. Now, I personally hope they'll add this in a patch later on, because quite frankly this matchmaking system is no good for a PC game. It does work and it gets the job done, however, considering we're used to having servers all our life, it's quite annoying, and being matched up with Americans when you're trying to play on a low ping server, or I should say match in this case, is really, really frustrating. However, I really didn't notice any lag or anything unless playing on the larger servers. That's another issue. The only terms of server size, it only goes to 18. Ridiculous for a PC game at this day and age. However, that's what they've decided to do. It's quite frustrating. As I've said, they should, you know, upgrade that in a patch later. However, I really can't say. Now, the final part of this review is obviously the verdict. If you hadn't guessed by now, I give it a 10 out of 10 straight away. It's got more of everything. The only thing I could have wanted more of was perhaps a longer story, but it works so well. It's just an absolutely stunning game. I couldn't have asked for a better game myself.